Okay, so we are back to do some more faces. I had dabbled into doing a few faces earlier on, some colour faces, which were very lovely. And I think they worked out really well. I was really pleased with the way that they had kind of fallen quite naturally around a splash of ink, a splash of paint, which was quite beautiful. Burn a little bit of incense to shake the mood. One of the girls that I drew this morning actually dried out quite beautifully. I've got a little bit of touch up on it, but I was really pleased with that. It was a very blotchy mess, but it kind of fell beautifully. And so I'm going to try and get in and do an ink one and a painted one to ink, if that makes any sense. So I'll start off with an ink outline. And thank you very much for all your questions and for your donations. Your donations fall on my heart very much. Very much appreciated. And so does your comments. Your comments and your questions are delightful. Now, the kind of trick for this, as I was explaining a little bit earlier, is about trying to have some kind of realism about shape. So will have to be some kind of dome, some kind of pear shape, some kind of round, some kind of circular curve. And then as you kind of get better and better, you can kind of be a little bit more brave. You can kind of move away from it. But I would suggest kind of doing some kind of curve to start with, until you kind of can vary your thinking. Because obviously a face is a face, and it's very difficult for me to draw a face and then draw a next face and then draw a next face and a next face. And if you're not really paying attention, you will end up kind of redrawing one of those faces again. Unless you're very, very careful and you are at a stage where you're varying the nose, you're varying the eye, the size of the eye, the length of the nose, then you could kind of technically kind of go on forever. But for a lot of people, that's quite a difficult pattern to kind of fall into. For example, here I wanted to have very large kind of eyelids on him. So he's got this kind of droopy eye type of feeling to him, which actually came across really quite lovely. And to do that, you really need to be aware. You need to be aware of your variations and your change. And that is something that sometimes is difficult to do. This was part of the discussion earlier about getting away from what you usually do. If you usually draw a circle, then start off with a straight line. If you draw with a brush, then draw with a biro, a pencil. But to do the opposite of actually what you usually do. And that way is a lovely way to see the variations coming through. And that is a beautiful way to use your sketchbook also. A beautiful way to kind of vary your mind. Part of the, you know, I do kind of feel like a lot of times when people show me their sketchbooks, it's like birds, 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 their cat, birds, another cat, and they do kind of stay safe in that environment. They stay safe in that little kind of circle that they are stuck in. And part of the freshness of art is to avoid that as much as you possibly can. Now, I kind of almost got an Asian type of man in this drawing here, which is really quite lovely. And I will do another quick sketch before I go to the paint to kind of talk a little bit more about the variations and how to use variations. As the person that wrote to me earlier was talking about how he's kind of tired of falling into that trap of drawing the same thing every day and getting to the point of getting bored of it and tired of his own drawings. Which it's easy to do, and it's a very easy way to kind of get kind of burnt out from it. So I will move the color one for now. I'll take another sheet of paper, and these will hopefully be going up onto the auction this week. I will put up some color stuff, and I've got a whole batch of stuff to paint as well. I've got tons and tons of these kind of little drawings that we did the other day of things that I need to paint. So we are now looking at something here, the way of variations, and the way to variate on this would be to, for example, the opposites. He has no cheeks, so draw a man who's got cheeks, and it instantly will give you a variation of something. So he has very large eyes, so let's do the opposite. Let's kind of he doesn't really have much of an eyebrow, so we've given him an eyebrow, and we're going to give him some very small eyes. And again, this is a lovely way to kind of to use your sketchbook, a way to kind of open your mind. And I do find it very, very, very effective to especially if you're kind of doing a lot of design. I have done a lot of character design in my past. Right. And it is, you know, a lot of times I would start off by drawing a shape. So, and the fact that we've actually now just given him an almost a bald head gives us a lovely character. And again, the very short, long kind of mouth to a very wide, smiling mouth. And, you know, you can add some hair at the side, give him a nice kind of balding head. Why not? And the way that this works is just an when you're doing character designs, for example, a lot of times I'd be drawing very big block, and then a very skinny block, and then a thin line, and then it's curved, and by working from a basic shape, a shadow, it already gives you a different appearance straight away. And that's the same type of effect that you can have here with drawing little portraits of different people. And since he's got a very short necked kind of t-shirt, I will give him a nice kind of turtleneck type of feeling. It almost looks a bit like a monk of sorts. And the beauty of that is that by the time you've kind of done about 30 of them, you will either start to find that you're having masses amount of ideas, or you will go back and start drawing very similar to the first one. And if you're going back and drawing very similar to the first one, then you haven't opened your mind enough. So it's a very good kind of test almost. Which I think is beautiful. I love doing the actual character designs. It's a lovely part of any job, of designing it. And once those dry, then you can start to put in variations with color. Now the difference is that if you put the color on first, as we have here, I'll put that there. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that? No. I'll put it on the side. And what you can start to do is you can start to analyze what your paint has done. Okay, and the way to do that is to basically look at it and say, well, okay, I like that blue dot mistake almost, and I'm very tempted to give me another eye. And that is a mistake on the paper. That shouldn't really be there. But obviously, once you're looking at it and you're analyzing it, you're kind of looking at it and thinking, well, that's kind of cute. That's almost kind of got, it's almost like an eye. So if I was to add another one, it would actually look like part of the actual drawing. Now, I do love the way all the ink has watermarks and stuff like that on it. And what it instantly does is it gives you this building up of a face. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But it's giving you options, and it's giving you this lovely, long, smiling face. And these deep, piercing blue eyes, which is really quite beautiful. And the decisions then are yours to, should I draw large eyes around it? In this case, yes. And it then starts to build up a character hidden in the paper. And in the same way, it's kind of a very lovely way to see the face coming through. And I really love this because it automatically means that each one that you do will be different, as long as you're approaching it from a different point of view. Lovely. So already you can see there from those three little doodles, we have three very different faces, very different. And if we were to take the same again and we were to take one more face, one more color, which is a little bit more of a higher skull on this, and I've kind of automatically put the red cheeks in there. But how different can I make it from the little lady who was there in the drawing before? If I was to put in some nice red lips. Oh, and I'm putting these in even before I know where the nose is, where the eyes are. So that it's kind of pulling my center line over. So my nose will appear here. And it will give me a very delicate type of cuteness to her. And again, with the eyes before, they were quite small. In this case, I'm actually going to give her long eyelashes. I want her to have a very cute appearance with those red cheeks coming forward. Almost like a doll's face appearing. And again, if you are painting a lot of portraits, it's a very, very, very lovely way to deal with it. Now, the bizarre part about this is that almost the same shape head as the other one, the earlier lady that I drew. And I will bring up the other one in a minute so you can see how different, even a similar shaped head, how different you can add the features to add to this variation. And the variation is something that you can really have fun with. You can really play around for days with. So if I bring that face up and that face, you can see how different they are. Those two ladies, very similar type of shape, and so you can see how very different you can approach the character and adding the features to it, which is lovely. I mean, it's really quite an exciting way to draw and to do variations. So there you have another 4 variations in a very quick space of time. And either way round, you can add the color afterwards, or you can add the color before you start. And it's a lovely way to start to think about variations in your painting and your drawing, just by varying each element as you're adding it, as you're adding the lips, as you're adding the teeth, as you're adding the eyes, as you're adding the nose, blah 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 blah. And that is one of the ways that I do on my variations when I'm drawing character designs and things like that. I will sit and I will draw a lot of different things, and sometimes I will start in the same way that I did with these characters here, that I'll put down a shape, I'll take a red or an orange or something, and I'll go splash, 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 do a shape, and then the next one I'll do a shape, so that I'm only concentrating on one element, which will be shape. And then from the shape, I will then go back and review that shape and see what I can add to it and see what I can see second time around. And sometimes, you know, you will do a shape, and then when you come back to it, like I did with this one, this lady earlier, when I actually painted this, I actually found that I had an ear shape where the hair was, and I had a big kind of like almost like a bun of hair tied up, and it wasn't done intentionally. It just happened to be there when I looked at it second time around. I also did another man. I did that one also, which was quite cute, you know. And obviously then once you've gone on to do the second stage, where you go in and you put a little bit of shadow colors around the eyes and such like that. But I hope that helps about adding some variation to your drawings and to faces. The more fun you have, in fact, there's a couple there that I did earlier. And you can see again how different the faces became. There's a whole batch of them, even another lady there. I mean, look how different those ladies are there. So I hope that has helped you in your way to vary your drawings and to keep your drawings interesting for yourself as much as anybody else. The more you enjoy the variations, the more that you can express your experience with that, and you can draw a lot of different character designs. So I hope that has helped, and I'll see you back here for some more drawings later on. I've got a whole day of lots of drawings to do. There's a whole big batch of drawings up there on the top, and I need to paint some of them up, and I need to draw up some new ones. So as the end of November is coming and December is rapidly coming in, this will be probably the last week for me to draw some variations for you to buy. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it was helpful. Do let me know. Do let me know what your thoughts are, and I'll get back to you some more, and we'll do some more drawing later on. Thank you very much, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.